Chicago Bears Now is sponsored by RexMD. Go to rexmd.com/chat and get up to 90% off branded and generic Cialis and Viagra. On today's episode of Bears Now by Chat Sports, here in a little bit, we're going to take a look at a potential new Bear as Ryan Poles is working out an ex-Illinois player. Could a former Fighting Illini join the Bears 90-man roster? We'll dive into that. But first, let's get a little stock up, stock down action going after the first preseason game, kind of where we're sitting at this point in training camp. Bears, of course, beat the Titans 23-17 in their preseason opener. I thought several players stood out, while some certainly struggled, so that's why we'll take a look at stock up, stock down. Of course, 2 preseason games remaining. You look at the remaining dates heading into week 1 here of note. Technically, today's the final training camp practice. They'll still have practices in the preseason, but they're off to Indianapolis for Wednesday and Thursday joint practices with the Colts, and then preseason game with the Colts. And then technically those practices before the Bills games aren't deemed training camp practices, as fans are not allowed to attend those, I don't believe. So technically training camp, at least at Hallis Hall, ends today. And then a roster cutdown day, August 29th. And a big note this year is teams go from 90 to 53. There's no gradual cut down to 85 to 80, then to 53. So a lot of players that the Bears have to decide on between now and August 29th. Now, before we jump into some stock up, stock down, I'm going to challenge you guys. If we can get to 69,000 subscribers, very nice, on the channel by tomorrow's live show, 4 Eastern, 3 Central Time, I will do a beer boot on tomorrow's show. I'll fill up the Justin Fields boot, 3 beers worth, and I will chug it live on the show. 207 away, so spread the word. We got, 27, 28 hours until tomorrow's live show. So if you want to see that happen, let's get it done. Daily Bears videos, multiple videos per day. We're going to be back later this afternoon, so hit that sub button. All right, let's get to some Bears stock up, stock down. 1 preseason game in the books, several practices in the books. Let's kind of take a status check on where things sit. We'll start with the stock up here. Tyrique Stevenson, the rookie cornerback out of the University of Miami. The first 4 or 5 days of training camp, he took his lumps. He had his struggles, had to go up against DJ Moore a lot. But I said it at the time, iron sharpens iron. And he has certainly really performed well since then. He's picked it up in camp, especially since the pads have gone on, which I thought could happen because he's a physical corner. And he showed off his physicality in the Bears preseason opener. 7 tackles, all solo tackles. So when your corner can tackle in space, you love that. Had a TFL where he blew up a wide receiver screen, just shed his blocker and lit that one up for a TFL. Had a breakup where he almost had a pick six, jumped it out route from Will Levis and couldn't quite squeeze it. You'd love to see him squeeze that and take it to the house, but that was still really good play. I think the competition with Terrell Smith is over. Terrell Smith missed some practice last week, did not play on Saturday, the fellow rookie out of Minnesota. I think that competition is done. Now, I think that was a good thing, too, because it forced Tyrique Stevenson to raise his level of play, and you got another young promising corner in Terrell Smith who can serve as your number 1 reserve behind Jaylon Johnson, Tyrique Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon. So I think Stevenson has locked up that job, which is a very good sign for a player they drafted in the 2nd round. Stock down, Velus Jones Jr. Really no surprise on this one, right? Lots to break down with Velus as things are trending down. But first, if you want to get something up, if you know what I'm saying, RexMD is going to help you do that. The number 1 leader in men's telehealth. Go to rexmd.com/chat to get a discount today. Fellas, if you lack that confidence in the bedroom, if you wish you could have a more fulfilling sex life, RexMD is going to help you out. You're not alone. That's why we're excited to tell you about RexMD, the leader in online men's wellness. RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get the medication you need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office. With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door and at a fraction of the cost of traditional pharmacies. Their team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made in the United States, so you can trust its quality. Plus, their customer support team is available 24/7 to answer any questions that you may have. If you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to erectile dysfunction, head on over to rexmd.com/chat. Start your consultation today and take advantage of the best deal they've ever offered. 90% off. Only pay $2 per dosage at rexmd.com/chat. It's rexmd.com/chat. If you get this limited time offer, go check it out. That link is in the comments and in the description. Velus Jones. You just can't trust the guy on punts. He had 3 muff punts last year, which are the photos we're cycling through on your screen right now, and he muffed one in the first preseason game. We talked about this the other day. He had 2 punt return opportunities. First one was a short punt, so I didn't mind him taking it off the bounce, and it was a short hop right to him. That's cool. I think the risk assessment there is perfectly fine. On the second one, he had plenty of time to get under the punt, failed to do so, and then he compounded a mistake of letting it bounce and turned it into a second mistake. He tried to catch it on a super high bounce, and right as it hits him, he gets popped, muffs it, and the Titans recover. We were told he's tracking the ball better, he's doing this, he's doing that. Really? Because 2 punts in the preseason opener, he failed to catch the ball out of the air. So I just don't think you can put him back there anymore. The Bears keep saying they're going to preach the fundamentals, but I feel like I've seen enough with this experiment with him as a punt returner. Now, the question will ultimately be when you look at him and his other skill set, because he does have elite track speed, does he show enough as a receiver and kickoff returner? Because he is an elite kickoff returner. He's really good at that. Guys aren't in his face when he's catching the football, so he catches the ball clean, and he had some big returns last year there. But is that enough? Is that and being a gadget guy or receiver enough to keep him around? I would still guess as of right now he would make the 53 because they did take him as a 3rd-round pick. But you got to wonder, if he was like a 5th or 6th-round pick, would he even still be here at this point? It's been a very big disappointment up to this point in time for Velus Jones. Are you done with him? Are you done with Velus Jones Jr.? Be honest with me. Type D if you're done. Type N for not yet. I'm done with him as a punt returner. I don't think I'm fully done with him in the total evaluation, but I'm getting to a breaking point pretty soon, and if Velus keeps making mistakes, you might have to move on here. Go back to stock up here. Kyler Gordon. Struggled as a rookie a little bit last year. I thought he came on strong in the final month of the season, but he's ready to make a big leap. I think he's really taken that next step in physicality and just overall confidence. I think it's very hard as a rookie in the NFL, as a defensive back, to have that confidence, especially if you struggle early. We saw that last year, but he had a couple of big hits against Tennessee. He had a pass breakup as well. He's going to be a really good player on this defense. I think he's poised to make a big jump. Stock down, P.J. Walker. We've kind of talked about this a little bit in training camp. He's been inaccurate with the football. Now, his skill set does not translate as to one who's going to, make the easy throws all the time and deliver the football at 65-70%, but it's not looking awesome for the Bears' backup. I mean, 4 of 8, 19 yards. His very first throw is just a horrible interception. QB rating under 20. He did, make one nice throw as you look at the QB depth chart here. It's not like you have a better option as the backup. Like, I'm not saying that. And I think skill set wise, keeping P.J. Walker as Fields' backup made sense when you signed him, and probably still does make sense. But if you lose Fields, I mean, you got big problems, because say what you want about Fields throwing, like P.J. Walker as a passer, it's tough to watch at times. Did have the one nice throw to Velus Jones, ironically, on 3rd and 6. It was a nice little 7-yard hitch route. Ball got out on time, perfect on the outside hip, right where you need to throw it there. But otherwise, it did not look pretty. Hopefully he picks it up a bit, because you need to have at least a competent backup, because the way Fields plays, I mean, there's at least somewhat of a decent chance he'll get injured at some point. Stock up, Trevis Gipson. Maybe the biggest stock up following the first preseason game, because his stock was way down. When that depth chart came out last week, heading into the preseason opener, he was listed as a 4th-string defensive end. You know what he did? He came out and he balled out. He took that negative energy and turned it into a positive. Had 5 tackles, a sack, 3 quarterback hits, and was just living in the backfield. Don't believe me? Look at the PFF grades and analysis. 8 pressures. 8 pressures when in a preseason game, it's not like you're playing majority of snaps. He played quite a bit, to be fair, but he was in the backfield all day, graded out really well, almost 85 overall. The pass rush was high. The run defense was well above average. So I'm proud of Trevis Gipson for what he did there, because he easily could have just mailed it in and been like, they're moving on from me. But now he's given this Bears staff more to think about, because we've seen him pop and flash at times in his career. Last year, when he was forced to be a full-time starter, he did not perform well. But I said this the other day, and I'll say it here. I think as a rotation rusher, he's got value. That being said, the edge position's kind of crowded now. With Yannick Ngakoue, DeMarcus Walker, they're making it. After that, you've got Dominique Robinson, Rasheem Green, Terrell Lewis, who balled out, Gipson. I mean, one of these dudes is getting cut. I don't know who it is, but if Gipson keeps playing like he did the other day, it's going to be hard to keep him off this roster. Which Bears player helped himself out the most against Tennessee? I think it's got to be Gipson. Like, as a guy who clearly looked to be on the outside looking in, I think he's firmly back on that roster bubble now. So let me know, which player do you think helped himself out the most in this ball game? All right, more stock up here, kind of rapid fire. Khalil Herbert, I know he kind of double caught it. It wasn't the cleanest catch, but if he can prove to be a reliable pass catcher in the screen game and just check downs, I don't expect him to start running wheel routes. That'll be a positive. Justin Fields, I just think in general, like, the offense is moving in the right direction. From pure analysis from this first game, I don't think there's a ton to break down, but I think it's moving in the right direction. DJ Moore, I mean, let's be real. He's going to change this team. Terrell Lewis, strip sack that led to a turnover, had another sack. He looks great. Darnell Wright, after what's been reported as an up-and-down camp, I thought he played really well in the opener. Jaylon Jones, 3 special teams tackles. That's how you make a football team. Micah Baskerville, who we haven't talked about a ton, the last week or so, he's popped in practice, and he had a couple of really nice plays in the game the other day. Had a sack. Could he sneak onto the roster? I think he's a prime practice squad candidate at least. A.J. Thomas had an interception. He's got a shot to be this team's 4th safety. Travis Bell had a sack as 7th-round rookie. And then Zacch Pickens, a couple tackles, had a sack. I thought he really popped as well. Some stock down. D'Onta Foreman, he didn't get many opportunities. 3 carries, 9 yards, but nothing really stood out to me. It's a crowded running back room, so maybe something to keep an eye on there. Opportunities elsewhere. Equanimeous St. Brown at wide receiver. 1 target, no catches. In a deep wide receiver competition, you'd like to see him be more of a factor. Kindle Vildor kind of was in the Trevis Gipson realm of low on the depth chart for a guy who's played quite a bit, but he didn't get into the game until very late, and he got stiff-armed once, too, and got put on the ground. I don't think he's making this team. Rasheem Green didn't pop much in this game for a defensive line that had a lot of people that did. So could he sneak under the bubble and miss out on the 53? I think it's possible if Gipson and Lewis keep playing well. And then Andrew Billings, who's had a good camp, but his PFF grade was like 30 overall. He kind of got pushed around in the run game, which is supposed to be a strength of his. Not going to freak out on that. I still think he'll have a positive impact. Played limited snaps, but perhaps something to monitor, especially if Javon Dexter can keep playing pretty well. Okay, which player hurt himself the most against the Titans? I think it's the most obvious question of the day. It's Velus Jones. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He hurt himself tremendously with what he did in the punt return duties. He's really got to turn it around and turn it around fast. All right, I teased it off the top, signing a ex-Illinois player, potentially Issac Darkangelo, working out for the Bears today per Aaron Wilson and other reports. So some of you guys might be familiar with him. He led Illinois in tackles with 71 last season, which, by the way, Illinois led the nation in scoring defense, total defense as well, I believe. He was a really good player for them, and some have kind of comped him to Jack Sanborn, where, like, he's this really good college player, but not the best athleticism, this and that, undrafted, but maybe overlooked as he has good instincts and is always around the football. So you kind of look at his background a little bit. Played in the Big Ten at Illinois. Like I said, led them in tackles for the defenses, or the nation's #1 defense. Did get picked up by the Lions after the draft, but was released by Detroit late in May there, and now Chicago's going to work him out. So we'll see if there's room for him here, at least on the 90-man roster, if he shows enough in this workout. I think it would be a big uphill battle in a crowded linebacker room to make the 53, but perhaps a special or a practice squad talent to further develop. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Again, let's try to get to 69,000 subs by tomorrow's show. If we do, I'll do a beer boot on the channel live here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys later this afternoon.